tree. We ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one karage, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow. In here, and they live and die here, and we ain't moving nowhere. Big mistake, 'cause we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up the river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one rice, not a blade of grass. We love the open country of the Rupununi. We are a peaceful people. Struggle is we struggle, and we don't look for trouble. Just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one karage, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow and never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere. Big mistake, 'cause we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up the river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one rice, not a blade of grass. We love the open country of the Rupununi and the Essex. We are a peaceful people. Struggle is we struggle, and we don't look for trouble. Just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one karage, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow and never break. Our fathers came here, and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere. Big mistake, 'cause we ain't giving up no mountain, we ain't giving up. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up the river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one rice, not a blade of grass. We love the open country of the.
All right, hey, guess what? It's 7 minutes after 2 o'clock. 7 minutes after 2 o'clock. Guess who is not yet at their press conference? And that's what we're waiting for, to counter, so that we can counter the lies, ball by ball lies, because we know that is exactly what he's going to do. He's going to be lying and lying and lying and lying. He's 8 minutes late for his 2 o'clock press conference. 8 minutes late. for his 2 o'clock press conference. What do you guys think he would have to say at this press conference? And do you guys believe that he will still be holding a press conference? Let's gaffe while we prepare for King Liar to appear this press conference. King Liar. He has nothing proper to say. What can he say? Definitely, he's not going to tell us about Sue. He's not going to tell us about the allegations of Sue. He's not going to tell us about the thousands of birth certificates that are being that have already been placed in the hands of folks who have just arrived in Guyana, if you know what I mean, the Venezuelans and others, thousands upon thousands of birth certificates and passports as well. Note that the other day it was Irfan Ali, mind you, Irfan Ali, who was winding up and dancing up in Canada, and hugging up and doing all manner of things in Canada while the Guyanese are going through what they are going through at this point in time. No word from the regime, no word from the military guys, no word, absolutely none. And that is highly questionable. Again, we are waiting for Jagdeo's press conference. This is the question again, how many of you guys, because he's already late, he's really late, how many of you guys are of the view that he will, sorry that I'm saying he, but how many of you guys are of the view that he will have this press conference this afternoon? How many of you guys think that that's what, we're not asking what will he talk about, we're asking how many of you guys think that he will have this press conference. We're watching, and we're here to counter his lies. However long he stays on with his lies, we're here to counter his lies. Just in case some people, some peep in your cup police want to know what I'm drinking. Some nice, strong coffee. Nice, strong black coffee. All right, so looking at some of your comments and awaiting for Tanti Murrell's press conference so that we can counter Tanti Murrell's lies and lies and lies and lies and lies. Tanti Murrell is not yet on. 10 minutes after 2 o'clock. Again, Tanti Murrell is usually a couple of minutes late, but not 10 minutes late. It simply means that maybe Irfan Ali has a problem with a press conference being held right now, because Tanti Murrell Jagdeo knows that there will be serious questions asked. Of course, the reporters there, most of them are just afraid to ask the serious questions. They're just afraid. Or maybe they're trying to ensure that some of what Jagdeo will be talking about be in Spanish. And maybe they're trying to get some Spanish reporters there as well. I notice Ines, with an interesting first name, Ines, how are you, Ines, is saying BJ is in Spanish classes. Now, we are hearing reports that over $200 million spent for Spanish classes for police officers. And these police officers have wasted taxpayers' monies, over $200 million. And then we're also hearing that the staff members at GCOM, they're forced to learn Spanish. That's what we're hearing, mind you, that they're forced to learn Spanish. If this is not sufficient for you guys to be upset about, I don't know what else. And oftentimes, it seems as though the fight is on social media. The fight is on these shows. There's hardly any fight on the ground. And when we say fight, we're not talking about physical fights, because some of those corrupt individuals, the so-called business people who are laundering monies in Guyana, money launderers, seem to think otherwise. Well, we're told that Tanti Murrell is at the press conference, and we will join Tanti Murrell, just not to promote the propaganda or the lies, but just to ensure that we have a a quick response to his lies, and that's the purpose of this here. So Tantimura is on. We will head over to Tantimura shortly so that you guys can hear the lies. So, uh, how many of you guys are ready to hear Tantimura and Tantimura lies and lies and lies? Um, we will get to that shortly, guys. We will get to that shortly. Tantimura lies and lies and just lies. So,
Often we don't view it in light of all of those challenges that we faced and the constraints too. Until now, we are reeling from some of the impact of COVID. Every week, people run editorials and they do articles about cost of living increases, but the global disruption of production and trade that happened in the COVID period was unprecedented. And that led to severe consequences for many countries. Here in Guyana, we fared much better than many of those countries, including in abating inflation and having our people still have access to food supplies. In some countries, they did not have that. So it's been a, if you go back down that road and all of the planning that we've had to do and making sure that we get the health system up and running and efficient or as efficient as
all right, let's touch on the first lie. The first, he's now going back to blame everything on COVID. Mind you, he didn't touch on the loss of lives. Dozens of persons lost their lives. He didn't touch on the condemnation of the COVID hospital, so to speak, that was built by the coalition government and under the coalition government. They criticized that, but that was the hospital that saved thousands of Guyanese, even though dozens have died. And so he didn't talk about the fact that they had fake COVID-19 vaccines that came from a so-called what is it, a Muslim guy from some one of those Arab countries or wherever. He's not talking about that. And mind you, listen to King Liar, where he's heading with this.
that it may pose to our country and our sovereignty. But this was, as usual, a press conference lined with half truths, a lot of fabrication, conjecture, lies, and we've grown accustomed to that coming out of Congress Place. But it was also dangerous because it touched on a very sensitive issue that is Venezuela and our relations with Venezuela, and could be misinterpreted by many who are not so familiar
Venezuela.
with the antics of APNU, Norton, and Ramjatan to view this matter in a manner that is detrimental to our national security and our national well-being. And that is why it requires a robust rebuttal. Had it not been so sensitive, I'd probably let it slide. But there are a few things we discovered, that are become apparent now from this press conference. That so-called divorce that AFC and APNU spoke of in 2022, that they had spent a number of years as coalition partners and they were going their separate ways, the AFC And this decision was made at the highest.
Imagine this guy wants to talk about a coalition and divorce, and people are just waiting for proper answers and real leadership. He's talking about the divorce. People can go back to his so-called marriage and his so-called divorce. A real issues there. Nobody wants to hear about a marriage and a divorce with coalition and Ramjatan. You see why we are where we are?
Corrupt practices of the AFC members in government, and because of their excesses, not just in terms of in financial matters, but on policy matters, and also their arrogance in their interaction with people. They forgot their base totally, and therefore they lost it. The policy actions relating to the callous way they dealt with the sugar industry and the taxation and all of these matters. So I pointed out that it was just talk. Many people saw this as a sign that the AFC was intent on rebuilding and going back to its core ideals that it professed.
He talked about failed policies and failed. Look at the Skeldon Sugar Factory. Look at the hydropower, Amila Falls. Look at the sugar industry. All of these things destroyed under this criminal. Just listen to him. I mean, no wonder why he probably doesn't want people like me at his press conferences. And I won't even waste my time to go and listen to an infantile dunce like Jagdeo. Just, gosh, it's painful, isn't it?
They're all together, and they will go to the elections together.
Talk about Venezuela.
Secondly,
I bet you he wiped his mouth like this.
they dealt with a grave matter. But here you are, two policy lightweights and people who have not been at the center of the serious discussions on national security and our preserving the integrity of this country. Being very glib and allowing the press conference to entertain some very dangerous notions. So we saw Ramjatan as in his usual mode. Ramjatan has, in his full lapdog mode, he has honed his skill admirably, the lapdog skill. So he was there every time adding to Norton. I saw his comments. Before you take questions, Norton made a statement. He said, before you take questions, I want to say my presence here is in full support of the statement made by the opposition leader. He had to interject that. Then along the way, he said, let me add that Aubrey is absolutely right about the issue. That was his presence at the press conference. It was to support Aubrey Norton in the lapdog mode, because AFC is nothing practically without the PNC. And so what are the things they spoke about? First of all, Ramjatan spoke about us not understanding national security, and I wouldn't even get into that. About Ramjatan and national security. This was the man whose biggest plan for fighting crime was to bring in dogs and horses from abroad. That was his trump. And amnesty for guns, as though the hardcore criminals would bring in their guns.
But this guy also, they had amnesty for guns under the PPP. And they didn't know how to fight crime under his presidency. His only way of fighting crime was to invite drug lords, notorious drug lords that he was part of, his party was part of. Take a look at how they fought crime with some of these notorious individuals, some of them at the State House with him. One of those guys is a notorious guy, died under questionable circumstances at the Georgetown Public Hospital. Look in there, Mark Kozerki. Was the manager of a wine bar, a notorious wine bar. But let's get back to Jagdeo and his usual lies.
that we were going to cede control of our exclusive economic zone, or we agreed to share our exclusive economic zone with Venezuela, and that I had said that we agreed to do this. And then from Ramjatan's comment, if you listen to him, he confused it with what is before the ICJ. Now, let me make it clear that no time in our history has any government moved away from our position that they find there has been a final solution to our borders with Venezuela based on the arbitration that took place in 1899 and the demarcation of our boundaries in 1905. No government in independent Guyana has ever changed that position or has suggested anywhere, locally or internationally, that we have a different view on that matter. Now and that matter is before the ICJ because Venezuela's spurious claim to our territory, which we see as that's the basis of the controversy that arose, that is now being adjudicated before the ICJ. Now, nothing else is before the ICJ. And for Ramjatan to take a false statement from Benchcup and Adnan Harris and then convert it into something that is before the ICJ is a very dangerous thing to do. Because by implication, you're saying that somehow they may have been a different position between the political parties here in Guyana or by a former president. Now, our maritime boundaries, the demarcation of the maritime boundaries the final demarcation will have to await the decision here. But as far as we know, based on our land borders, we know what the maritime boundaries are. And there has been not a single proposal ever to share this with Venezuela or exclusive economic zone. But the mere fact that they entertained this at the press conference could be viewed from abroad as though we have a difference of views here on these matters. We have had a single position in government and out of government, the People's Progressive Party, and a national consensus on this issue, which is that our boundaries are inviolate, they are established, and they cannot be altered. And that Venezuela's claims to any part of our territory, these claims are spurious. So I just wanted to make that clear. And they did it at a time, had that press conference, at a time when the opposition and the government in Venezuela just met in Barbados.
All right, forget about him for that quick second. With what he's alluding to and the question about him ceding maritime space to Venezuela, even though Venezuela is claiming a large portion of Guyana, he basically wanted to give up Sharing space is giving up. You don't share space with someone who's claiming your territory. But in the Stabrook News of November 1st, 2015, this is what Jagdeo said to the media, that during the PPPC's tenure, 5 possible solutions have been under consideration. And one of those possible solutions to give Venezuela access to a channel into Guyana's territory out to sea, and the maritime boundary would have started off. So he basically was saying then that he was prepared to give Venezuela access to Guyana's space. That is exactly what, so he's backpedaling because he knows it's hypocrisy, he knows it is hurting him, and he knows that it is treasonous. And so what he's attempting to do is to explain something, believing that you, the people, are not smart enough. But let's continue with it, listening to his lies.
Now, clearly, APNU knows they're going to lose the 2025 elections. I think they know this. Internally, the discussions have taken place in their camp, and they know they're going to lose the elections. APNU has this way on AFC of inventing excuses. The last election, they lost because Russians interfered. Ramjatan didn't tell the press conference where the Russians are. Their last press conference, their last elections, they won, but the voters list was flawed. Now they're still saying they won the elections, but the voters list was flawed, and that harmed them. So now the new boogeyman rather, is the group of people who are here now, the Venezuelans, who are here, that somehow they're being registered across the country in large numbers and by the People's Progressive Party, and they will determine the outcome of the next elections. So as of today, if you look at how many people are registered in this whole exercise from January 1 to now, it's in category A, it's about 8,698, and category B, 4,981, about 13,600 or so persons. Category B are those who are 14 years and older. And category A are those who can get on the list immediately. If you look at the regional breakdown, it mirrors the population density, the population of the region. So the largest are from region 4, 5,330 from region 4 of the 30.
This guy thinks that people are that gullible. He wants people to believe him. He thinks that people are going to go with the propaganda that he's spreading. It's all lies upon lies upon lies. There were Russians in Guyana. They were alleged to have been interfering with the Guyanese elections. Not only the Russians, there were some other unscrupulous people, their passports information, some criminals out in Turkey, and all manner of things. It is a matter of fact. Those are individuals who have had their interest in oil and other businesses in Guyana. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. So, Jagdeo, let's not go with the lies. The only thing that I'm concerned about is that when Ramjatan and these guys had an opportunity to arrest those individuals and question them. Instead, when the Russians were caught with Mark Phillips, according to information that is, at the Marriott Hotel, they were swiftly escorted out of the country. They were escorted to the airport and out of the country instead of being questioned and so forth. So that's an error on the part of Ramjatan and the coalition. Would have been able to prove to the world what some of those Russians were doing in Guyana, compliments of the PPPC regime.
the numbers are not unusual based on previous registration and based on population, as we know, in the region. Ramjatan said something that was very strange, though. He said people who are known not to be Guyanese born, but born in Venezuela are registering. And I want to remind Ramjatan, because I think he himself has family who are born abroad and close family, that they will be eligible for Guyanese citizenship too. Because a lot of the Venezuelans, the people who we are calling Venezuelans, they're really Guyanese. Their parents migrated when they were driven out by the PNC when we were starving in this country. We had no, PNC was rigging elections. They had no freedom by Norton's party. They had to flee Guyana to Venezuela, to the islands, to Suriname, to the US. They fled this country in droves. And a lot of those people had children who were born in Venezuela, but by virtue of the Guyanese blood, they're eligible to, to have Guyanese citizenship, notwithstanding the fact that they were born in Venezuela. So one would think that this guy is a lawyer and would understand this, but clearly he believes that anyone born abroad, even to Guyanese parentage, would not be eligible for Guyanese citizenship. I don't.
All right, guys, sorry about that. I have the former Minister of Home Affairs, they call it National Security, I believe, under the coalition government, Mr. Kemraj Ramjatan, attorney at law and member of parliament. Mr. Ramjatan, good afternoon. I'm sorry to disturb you, but Jagdeo just described you as a lapdog at that press conference with the leader of the opposition. Your take, please.
Well, you're affecting my Hasakori here, boss.
My apologies.
That is not anything strange from a Jagdeo. He characterizes everybody because that is the characterization that is applicable to him. So what he knows about himself, he likes to attach it to other people. This fella is getting delusional. I think there is an element of insanity prevailing in his remarks these days, worse than they were before. And so expect that kind of nastiness from him because of the quality constructive criticism we give to his government's policies, foreign relations policies, and so on these days. And so he will want his base support to feel that Ramjatan and Aubrey Norton and the rest of us in the coalition and parliament, and even separate in our organizational groupings, are not fit to be leaders of this country. And so he's going to fool them with all his nastiness. We know that he is one who loves political power, who loves the publicity, who loves the fact that he can then denounce every other good Guyanese of recent times, even an Anand Gulsaran, who is by far superior to him in almost every respect. But yet he wants to challenge that person's integrity and so on. So don't be in any way surprised by his description as me being a lapdog and other people without integrity. He wants to play the paragon of virtue. But quite frankly, like the vice president he is full of vices.
Full of vices indeed. Quickly, while you go back to your Hasakori, he's saying that he never wanted no concession for Venezuela and so forth, which is contrary. I think this is hurting him now that he wanted to give away or share economic zone with Venezuela. Why do you think he's kind of like backpedaling on that and is hurt based on what you have said?
Because it was the most unpopular thing when you do. I understand the Institute of Guyana University did some poll, or some other persons did a poll. This is an extremely unpopular anti-nationalist thing that he knows he will pay the price for. And especially in the elite circles that deal with international law and diplomacy, they have chastised him for talking such rubbish. So he is now realizing that the madness that he has spoken, he got to try to quickly retract it, or to say that those who are saying that he was saying it are all liars. And that is what he is. He's paying a penalty for the madness that he uttered only too recently. And he had said this from a very long time ago. So I don't know what he's going to retract. He loves to do all these lies. Oh, we're going to lower back the ministerial salaries that Winston Jordan increased for ministers. We are going to renegotiate the contract. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're going to open back Skeldon, and all our lies. Even on Monday when I went to the court case for the sugar workers, they're telling us, Mr. Ramjatan, you don't have to tell us anymore, because I did a program on the Boris on the Move program, and the people said, we heard you, but you don't have to tell us that this is a liar. This man lies through his teeth. He watches us with angel eyes and lies. And so what else do you expect from him? So don't bother with he. And so he now realized that he's in a pickle. And he's trying to get out of it by saying he never said so, or he never meant so.
Thank you so much. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Thank you so much. And
it's a lot of bullshit to talk. And you know, people might want to feel that this bullshit is all over the place, and so that is the only thing that we should talk about. But let me tell you something, Mark. Y'all got lots of other things to talk about. The programmatic and policy development of this country. That is what we should be talking about, rather than this. Let me don't call it the cuss word, but this jagabat. Real trench crap who he behaving like. Take care.
Thank you so much. Enjoy your hustle. Save back some of the bones for him. All right, Comrade Ramjatan there with us. Let's head back and hear what this trench crapo description Mr. Ramjatan aptly applied to this guy. Let's hear what other lies.
There are several things I want to come to. But before I do so, I just want to go back to this Gulsuran matter, because it has made the headline once again. And you know by now, the last time I was here, I said, I was written to by his friend Ramjatan, saying that if I don't apologize for saying he lacks integrity, they will sue me. And my lawyer responded, you saw the letter, outlining why I think he has no integrity, and urged him to file the lawsuit. He claimed that he couldn't effect service on me. I said the last time, please send it anywhere to the Anil Nandalal or to whomever he was written to that effect, could drop it off by.
First of all, look, the other propaganda is to serve him the papers from the marshals here in Guyana cannot be done through the Attorney General's office. This is a private matter against Jagdeo, and therefore Jagdeo cannot have this document served through the Attorney General's chambers. Now, Anil Nandalal, he's the Attorney General of Guyana, should have known better that he should not be writing Ramjatan on this matter, regardless of what. He sits there as the Attorney General, and he is not to be representing Bharat Jagdeo in a private matter or anyone of that sort. But this is what Anil Nandalal said. Oh, he was writing on behalf of his law firm. Now you see the contradictions there, right? But these people just do not get it. I don't know which law school they attended, but they just do not get it. God help us.
He looked through the PNC manifesto
Back to,
and did not find
back to PNC.
the statement that I read out at the last press
Back
conference
to PNC.
in the manifesto. That is not in the PNC manifesto of APNU manifesto of 2015. That 28 to 35%, and this is what it says: reducing procurement fraud, estimated by Mr. Anand Gulsaran, the former Auditor General, to be about 28.
Anand Gulsaram has sued him. He, Jagdeo, is running and running and running and hiding and dodging like a little girl. Sorry about that. But he's running and running and running under the bridge. He's running under Borby's bridge. He's running in the cane fields. He's hiding. He doesn't want to be served. Maybe the first time in his life. He doesn't want to be served with the court documents, mind you. And so he's running. And this is what he's explaining. People have far better things to do. Like Ramjatan said, the cost of living is so high. Unemployment has gone to the highest level. People are punishing in the country. There's no job creation. People are being discriminated. Venezuela is threatening the borders, all manner of things. But all he can talk about is Anand Gulsaram and Anand Gulsaram. That is all. And he's wasting taxpayers' monies, and he's wasting those reporters' time. And they got to sit there for 1 hour and just listen to this guy spew his lies and his vindictive nature of repeating and rebuttal and all manner of things that's happening there. His head, something is wrong with this guy. Can somebody call the psychiatric folks at Borby's hospital there, Borby Psychiatric Hospital? Something is wrong with this guy.
Approximately $28 billion annually. So he actually said it. Now, he claims that he met me at the British High Commission. The last week I said, in opposition, I said to him, could you please come and tell us, we're a forum, or go in the newspapers or anywhere else, tell us how we are losing $1 billion. Forget the 28 to $35 billion or $50 billion. That's percent, he said in the APNU manifesto. So that could work up to as much on the upper end, $50 billion. Just tell us how we are losing $1 billion. So he lies and he says, I met him at the British function and I said I wanted to debate a miler and he was ready to do it. Well, we can do that at some point in time. But what I said to him, can you please tell us how this happened? Which projects we lost this money on? Because if you claim we're losing this huge sum of money every year through fraud, you should know at least which fraud, which project is fraudulent. He refused to do so. So in my press conference that I had on the 12th of June, 2018, this is what I said that this number was false. I'm not going to read everything again. Please allow Gulsaran to explain how 28 to 35 billion was stolen per year between 2010 to 2014 by procurement fraud. I don't know if I can make the request through the reporters here. This was 2018. Can you please ask your editors or publishers to give him 2 pages to explain, even 1 page? This is a blatant lie. He would have to go to which projects. You have to say X project, we lost billions.
Oh gosh, this thing is burning up my energy. I'd rather go and bush cook or something. How many of you guys think that we've had enough of this trench crapple? How many of you guys think we've had enough of his crap? He's going out, he's taking all this time to explain and try to make Anand Gulsaram, the former Auditor General, as though he's a liar and all manner of things. These are things, Bharat Jagdeo, that you should explain to the court, not explain it to us here. We don't want to hear that. take it to court, right? But if you notice what he's doing, he's trying a case right here in public domain. Instead of accept the damn summon, he's running from it like a little, you know what, and then come here now to cry crocodile tears and pretend as though he's such an angel. Look, I don't want to use a coarse word, right? Like Ramjatan said, but this is what these things are about. A waste of taxpayers' money. That is what he is about. Note though, he's not going to take his time to explain what Sue said about him in terms of the massive corruption and bribes and all these manner of things. He's not going to explain it. Remember, he said he's going to sue Sue. Remember, he said he's going to go after Sue and all manner of things. Do you guys know Sue is still in Guyana and he cannot touch Sue? But yet he's going after poor Anand Gulsaram. Poor Anand Gulsaram. He came out with a thick thing this size to explain his side, and Anand Gulsaram is wrong. And Anand sued you. Gulsaram sued you. Accept the summon and go to court. Notice he's losing so many cases now because of his mouth, his filth. The filth in his mouth are just emerging rapidly every single day. Guys, look, I'm hungry, man. I need some hasakori too, and I just need some hasakori. Should we just stop this guy from his lies? Because I've had enough. What do you think?
Still, I believe in the witness box, my lawyers, I have a number of lawyers who will ask details about this. And then he could prove his professional integrity in the box. The second thing I have, he mentioned in the article, is that I piloted the Audit Act. So he is absolutely right that let me give you the Audit Act here. So he said that I piloted the Audit Act through the Parliament. Now, this is the act here. Now, in this act, there's one very important provision that he should have told you about. So in 2004, when I was in the Ministry of Finance, this was tabled in Parliament, and I piloted it through Parliament. Asgar was not Parliament. Here. And we expanded the scope of the Auditor General to audit more entities because the Constitution gave him the right to audit public accounts. So there is a provision in this act which says, I'm going to read you the sections. The Auditor General functions.
Guys, we have far more important things to deal with. This guy could accept the summon from Anand Gulsaram's lawyer, deal with it, go to court, and talk these things in court. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody wants to hear your lies upon lies and lies and lies. People want to hear about your bank account in China. People want to hear about the corruption that Sue spoke about. These are things that people want to hear about. Anand Gulsaram obviously touched a nerve in terms of corruption by Bharat Jagdeo. Just like when Freddie Kissoon took him to court, after Freddie compiled all of the evidence that Freddie took from Agda and others, and Freddie compiled it in a little booklet and said that he wrote that. He compiled those evidence. When I saw it written by Freddie Kissoon, I said, like, Freddie, but you didn't get the information by yourself. How come you took all the credit? Freddie said, man, rest yourself, rest. I think he called Jagdeo an ideological racist. He took Jagdeo to court, and Jagdeo didn't want to go into the witness box and all manner of things. And I do believe that that matter was settled. Maybe financially it was settled. Freddie Kissoon didn't tell us how much money he received or not. He's just quiet. But I'm just tired of this here, guys. It looks as though I just waste my minibus money to rush down and to air this here for you guys. Let's hear a couple of minutes more.
And it would have affected our international loans, etc. So that concern that we had in 2004, we reflected it here in the law because we allowed for a second audit. He could proceed, but where a financial institution did not accept his audit, then we could have done a second audit because they will not disburse resources on the basis of their assessment that the office was not capable at that time. We just started building capacity. Remember, we just got into office. But the next provision is the most important one. It says the Auditor General shall control all audits, and only one, and the government can do any internal audit, but any external auditor has to go through the Auditor General's office, or with one exception, that the minister.
Hi guys, I'm out of here, man. I've had enough. We all know the lies. We all know the propaganda. We all know what he's about. A shameless liar. That's just what it is all about. And I don't have much more patience in listening to him, propaganda, his lies, so forth. Those of you that I took away maybe from your lunch break or whatever, I apologize to all of you for disrupting your hasakori, your cook-up, or whatever it is that I've disrupted. I don't know what it is I've disrupted. Whatever it is, I'm so sorry. I will write you guys personally an apology letter. I really feel bad that I entertain you guys like this. Now is not time for comedy. Now is not time for the obvious propaganda from these infantile. We are not hearing anything about what they are going to do to address the issue of Venezuela and their wicked claims to Guyana. They're not addressing cost of living, the fact that it is sky high. They're not addressing unemployment that is so high. They're not addressing these things. Guyanese are concerned about these things. He's not going to address these things. He's not going to talk about $214 million US given away, wiped off to ExxonMobil. And so they're not going to talk about these things. All he's going to talk about is Ramjatan is a lapdog. Imagine you have somebody that is getting paid by you, the people, taxpayers' monies, and he sits there at a press conference calling people lapdog. And then he gets upset when people call him trench crappos and jagabat and all kind of things. He gets vexed because of that. But yet he's a lapdog, and he's nothing but a shameless reptile. Dangerous reptile. I've had enough of him, guys. Talk to you. See you guys later on tonight, right here on 107. Look, Tanti Mara. He loves to hold things up, you know. I'm out of here, guys. I apologize for making you spill your hasakori and all kind of thing. Love you guys. See you guys this evening on 107.1 FM. Talk to you later. Tired of him and his crap. We all know his propaganda though, right? But we're glad we were able to set the record straight that it is propaganda and that they do not care about Guyana, that he, Jagdeo, wanted to give away a piece of Guyana to Venezuela, and it's hurting him. See you guys later on tonight. God bless you.
We are a peaceful people. Struggle is we struggle, and we don't look for trouble. Just ask around. But when outside faces from foreign places talk about taking over, we ain't backing down. We ain't giving up no mountains. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up no river. that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one rice, not a blade of grass. This land is all I know. We gonna make it somehow. We will bend like a bow and never break. Our fathers came here and they lived and died here, and we ain't moving nowhere. Make no mistake, 'cause we ain't giving up no mountain. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one rice, not a blade of grass. We love the open country of the Rupununi and the Essequibo, the time on night. Though we may criticize it, this is our home, we love it, and we need to keep it. We have that right. So we ain't giving up no mountain. We ain't giving up no tree. We ain't giving up no river that belongs to we. Not one blue sake, not one rice grain, not one rice, not a blade of grass. So we ain't giving up no mountains. We ain't giving up no tree.